Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Maverick News channel. The man before Musk. We have a treat for you tonight. Something I've actually wanted to do for a long time. We are going to bring you, at the end of the broadcast, Maverick Midnight Matinee, which, as many of you know, is our watch party, which we do usually Friday nights. And it's Friday. So tonight we're going to bring you Hell's Angels. This is a film from 1930, directed by Howard Hughes. I've often referred to him as sort of the man before Musk, sort of the original Maverick of sorts, because he was an entrepreneur. He was really weird. He was incredibly wealthy. He had massive government contracts. Just like Musk, he was involved in the aerospace industry. He was an innovator. He pioneered all kinds of technology. He did a lot of the things that Musk is doing now in his own time. And was even, I think he was more genuine, more authentic in many respects, because he wasn't just an entrepreneur, and he didn't just ride on the coattails of really smart engineers and scientists. He was something of a stuntman himself, a pioneer, as I say, and an adventurer. He broke the speed record flying an experimental aircraft that he and his team developed. He did all kinds of crazy stuff, and today his legacy lives on in street names in Las Vegas and in the sky, in the military-industrial complex, and the list of achievements goes on and on. The reason we're highlighting the movie tonight is that yesterday, Hell's Angels, this cinematic classic from 1930, entered the public domain, so we can share it with you tonight for the first time. It's a movie I've wanted to share with you for a long time, but just I haven't been able to, because we would have been hit by a copyright strike. That being said, we're still not going to run it on YouTube tonight, because they are real sticklers for this stuff. And even though it is in the public domain, I can pretty much guarantee they will hit us with a copyright penalty. So no YouTube tonight. So if you're watching, you should switch over from YouTube to our Rumble channel or one of our other platforms. But yeah, Rumble would be the preferred one. We're not running on Wimkin tonight, because they are upgrading their technology. Speaking of technology, to make their platform more stable and I think a little more user friendly. So the live streaming feature is not available over on Wimkin tonight. I'm not sure when it will be back. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. I expect fairly soon. We have a growing audience over on that platform, just as we do on Twitch, thanks to the people who have made our haters channel viable and growing over on Twitch. So thank you, haters. You can go check that out over on Twitch and the action over there every night. But yeah, Rumble's where the action really is, and that's where the bulk of our Maverick family hangs out every night. So if you're interested in engaging in the chat and meeting some genuinely nice people, that would be the place to go, is over to the Rumble channels. So we have two of those rocking and rolling tonight. And we're going to bring you that film. But we're also going to bring you the top news stories of the day, including, I guess, highlights from an interview with Venezuela's leader, Maduro, commenting in this interview while he's driving around, commenting on the threat from the United States. Also, Donald Trump tonight saying that the U.S. is locked and loaded and ready to back up the protesters in Iran. So if the Iranian regime pushes back, and if they kill any of these protesters, he says they're ready to defend them. So we've got all of that and a whole lot more tonight. So yeah, it's going to be a great program. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Howard Hughes and compare him, a guy who made a real name for himself, way back in the 1930s and lived right up until the mid 1970s. Comparing him to what Elon Musk is today, he was the guy who paved the way for a lot of these. He created the blueprint, the directions for today's billionaires in many respects. So stay with me. We have a lot to unpack tonight, a lot to share, a lot of looking back, and as a result, a lot of looking forward to do.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, let's start tonight with the Truth Social Scroll, because Trump is out there and, as usual, making news simply by speaking. I don't know if it's truth or not, but it's what do they call it? He's truthing. Is that what the phrase is? He's truthing. Truth out. I think that's the phrase. I'll check in the chat. Is that what they call it when you post on Truth? You're truthing? What if you're lying? Everything I say on Truth is a lie. Everything I'm lying about is the truth. All right, let's do the scroll and see what he's saying tonight about Iran and other places. Well, we saw that one yesterday. That's old. And Chicago doesn't need help. We have everything under control. Okay, he says here, he's talking about tariffs. Tariffs are an overwhelming benefit to our nation, he says, as they have been incredible for our national security and prosperity like nobody has ever seen before. Losing our ability to tariff other countries who treat us unfairly would be a terrible blow to the United States of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Oh, and there's a black velvet Elvis, the one that I showed you last night. It's gone up in price. It was only $58 yesterday. It is now on sale for $106.36. Oh, you know what it is, though? It's from a different supplier. So the one that I found last night was a much better deal. This one's $106.36. You can pay more if you want to at greatbigcanvas.com. I don't remember the website that I went to. So you're on your own searching for the black velvet Elvis, the king. Of course, we were showing you that because Trump had that artist paint on the fly in real time in front of an audience that picture of Jesus, the original king, with blue eyes. And then the super rich guy paid put $2.75 million for that thing at the Trump New Year's Eve shindig. If you want the full story, you should go back and look at the archived recording from last night of Maverick News. That would be the January 1st edition, this being January 2nd. So what else have we got here going on? Some kidlets in the White House. And, he's been going on about windmills lately, too. And I know that I don't think this is the case here necessarily. I haven't had any opportunity to check the validity of these images, but I know he's under fire for posting pictures of what he said was a dead eagle near a wind turbine. It turns out it's a falcon from another country. I can't remember the country that it's from. So he made a bit of a boo-boo there, killing birds by the millions. Yeah, and I wind turbines, I would not say are the most efficient generator of electricity, and certainly down around my home. Well, not currently, I'm here in London, but my usual home down there around Chatham, Kent, Ontario, tons and tons of wind turbines dotting the landscape, the horizon. And when I'm driving around, I see them not turning a lot of the time. They're shut right off. Do you know why that is? It's because they need stable power flows through the power lines, so as not to disrupt or cause any kind of problems for the nuclear power generators. That's one of the big reasons. So they turn them on when it's efficient and when they need them. But they can be, I guess they can cause like fluctuations in the amount of power going into the grid. So they have to be careful how they use them, because it can cause problems for the nuclear plants, and you do not want that. You don't want an accident at a nuclear facility. So there are other factors too, but that's one of them. So here's the post about Iran right there. He says, if Iran shoots, he says shots, if Iran shots and violently kills peaceful protesters, we'll just chalk it up to a typo. He missed an O. But he's in perfect health. He's just got big fat fingers, I guess. If Iran shots and violently kills peaceful protesters, which is their custom, the United States of America will come to their rescue. We are locked and loaded and ready to go. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. Why does he always post, thank you for your attention to this matter? Always. I just think that's awkward. It just doesn't feel right. It feels like an attempt to be formal, but it comes off feeling plastic to me. To each their own, I guess. What else we got going on here? Wow, Team Trump dominated 2025 with astounding 5.3 billion views and 13 million new followers. Well, that's a few more than me. He's a little bit better known than I am. We're close, because this is like the best podcast like ever. It's the best podcast, the best new podcast. It's the best podcast. It's the best news program. It's the best Maverick news podcast ever. We can compare to Trump. Lawless lawfare. Okay, we're getting into older stuff. This is 2 days old now. All right, enough of Trump, but we've seen now the post about Iran. What is going on in Iran? You have all these riots, protests in the streets. Let's see if we can find some footage, shall we? Okay, Rick, let's go find some footage of protesters in Iran. These things, these protests, when they're large like this, when they're really large, I think generally speaking, it's pretty safe to say they are not just organic. They're usually helped along by, quite often, outside governments like Russia or the United States. Oh, yeah, we are gonna talk about Zoran Mamdani tonight too. Now that he is officially the mayor, he's sprung into action and he is doing his thing. Oh, yeah, and then there's the Nazi salute story, too, which we'll touch on again tonight. But first, Iran, protests. We need footage. Let's see what's going on right now. There's photo. Let's just do a Twitter scroll. That will suffice for what we need to do with this tonight. when Trump's posts stuff like that, he's sort of telegraphing, signaling exactly what's going on. So, all right. So Richard Kemp says, despite attempts in the West to play it down, current protests in Iran are extremely serious and growing. Signs that this may turn into the most serious revolt since 1979. Protesters are taking the most dire risks and deserve our moral support against the terrorist ayatollahs. Well, you know what happened in 1979? Yeah, the Iran hostage crisis. It ultimately defined Jimmy Carter's presidency. He wasn't able to free them. It cost him re-election. It ushered in Ronald Reagan. And Canada helped get some U.S. government people out of the country at the time. What was the movie called? Argo, I think it is. I think the movie's called Argo. You can find out all about it over there if you don't remember. I remember a lot about the Iran hostage crisis in 1979. All those Americans and people taken hostage, and it dragged on and on and on. And on the nightly news, every single night, they had a number up on the screen, the number of days that the hostages had been held. And Carter never was able to get them out. He ran that rescue operation, and it went haywire, and they had a helicopter crash, and it was a disaster. Didn't work. And then along comes Ronald Reagan. And the hostages were ultimately released as, if I remember correctly, as Ronald Reagan was being sworn in as president. But then Reagan had his own scandals too, like the Iran-Contra scandal. Let's go back to the Twitter scroll. There's the post from Truth Social being shared on X tonight. Visrograd 24 deadly protests against the Ayatollah regime in Iran have entered their fifth day. At least 8 people have been killed, and students have now joined the demonstrations. The unrest began with shopkeepers closing hundreds of stores across Tehran and other major cities. As students joined, the protests shifted from purely economic grievances to political demands, with slogans such as "Death to the Dictator." Several of the country's most prestigious universities in Tehran and Isfahan have been closed. Clashes continue at Tehran University, where students are confronting security forces at the main campus gates. The government, led by Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has responded with water cannons, tear gas, and lethal force. According to human rights group Henga, at least 8 people have died. 3, including a 15-year-old, were killed on the evening of January 1st in Asna when security forces opened fire on protesters. Another 17 injured. The protests began December 28th. That's when shopkeepers in Tehran, Isfahan, Shiraz, and Mashhad took to the streets after the national currency collapsed to a record low of about 1.4 million rials per US dollar, driving food prices up about 60%. Talk about inflation. I saw, who was it? There was somebody from the Trump administration. Oh, I think it was, what's his face? The guy. That guy, Stephen Miller. He was saying that he was saying that Trump has taken inflation from more than 30% to like 2% or whatever it is, or 3%. How is he able to do that? I don't think that's actually accurate. I know that inflation was pretty darn high, but I don't think it was at 30% under Biden. I'm going to look that up. Because inflation is a major concern right now for a lot of people. And I don't think that Trump or Stephen Miller are telling us the truth. So let's see here. What was the inflation rate? I'm looking it up. I don't think it was 30%. That'd be pretty devastating stuff. Although during the pandemic, like cumulatively, you have seen prices since the pandemic over, say, the past 5 years here in Canada. And I can't speak for the U.S. because I haven't traveled in the U.S. since the pandemic. But if you look at a lot of prices at the grocery store, some prices have increased. There's a pretty consistent, say, over the past 5 years in Canada, 20%, 25% increase in prices. In some cases, prices on certain goods have doubled. Now, that being said, that's a cumulative thing year over year over year. So if you were getting during those pandemic years, inflation, say 5%, I don't think that's unreasonable. And if whatever they're telling you the inflation rate is, it's almost always higher because they cook the numbers to make it look better than it is, and they change the basket of goods and services that they use to assess the inflation rate. So they calculate it differently to make the government look better than it is always. So here's the truth about the inflation rate. Yeah, the U.S. inflation rate was never 30% or anywhere close to that. This administration is just so full of. Oh, did I do that? That's an Archie Bunker. I did an Archie Bunker. Do you remember Archie Bunker from the 1970s? That could be our Pee Wee Herman word of the day. Do you remember Pee Wee Herman? They used to have that like a word that anyway. If you remember, you're old like me. So Biden came in with a low inflation rate of about 1.4% in January of 21, and then it peaked at 9.1% in June of 22. That was the highest in about 40 years. So that's really bad, but at 130. And then it declined steadily after that, coming back in around 3% year over year as he was leaving office. And average during Biden's term, average inflation rate, about 4.95 to 5%, which is way too high. But of course, you're in the pandemic times, right? On the tail end of all that stuff. And all the money printing and lower productivity, fewer goods being produced. Demand doesn't decrease for things like food, but food production would have even been down at the time. So, yeah, the highest it got, though, was 9.1%. The highest U.S. inflation in modern history was around 13 to 14% in the 1980s, but nowhere near 30%. Just never happened. So, sorry, Stephen Miller. We'll just say it's a mistake for now, okay? And I don't believe the inflation rates that they're putting out right now. We've seen Trump fire people because they put out actual true statistics. Let's watch some of this video. No. I had a friend, and this goes back now. Oh my, since time flies, has to be about 7-8 years ago now already. Anyway, she would always say to me, "I want to go to Iran." I was like, "No, you don't. You don't want to go there." I want to go there and for a vacation. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Who wants to go to Iran for a vacation? If you're a, Caucasian woman from Canada. No, not advisable. Anyway, I don't think she's ever gone. I haven't spoken to her in a long time. She moved away, but she wanted to go to Iran. I know she went to the States, but not to Iran. Iran. I think she's maybe changed her mind by now. She was young at the time. Just, yeah. And don't go there right now. It looks kind of unstable. And I've seen what happened in history. I remember, man. Iran, not a great vacation destination. Maybe a great place to go if you're a journalist and you're looking for some good stories. That would be an incubator for geopolitical news. But I don't think I'd be going there for rest and relaxation necessarily. Here's the headline over on CBS. Let's take a look. He says exactly what I told you. Trump says if Iran kills protesters, U.S. will come to their rescue. Well, I know what he means. I mean, if you take that literally, he's like, if they kill the protesters, well, how are you going to rescue a dead protester? You're not. So hopefully it never comes to that. But I know what he means. He would rescue the rest of them. How would you do that, though? My God. Are we talking about now potential military actions in Iran? This is the president of peace. Yeah, we're locked and loaded, he says. Yeah, okay. I don't think people really have much of an appetite for a war with Iran. How about you? Are you ready to go to war with Iran? I'd say let's try to avoid that. I'm not in favor of any more countries getting nuclear weapons, though, even though I see some streamers, influencers, especially on the pro-Russia, conservative, and left-wing side. I've seen some people saying, Iran should be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. I say no, I don't want any more countries to have nuclear weapons. That's my editorial bit on this. I think that would be really, really scary stuff. Extremely scary. And while all that's going on over there in Iran, keep your eyes on that one because it's volatile, baby. We have the escalation continuing off the coast of Venezuela, and there was that land strike that seems to have been confirmed. So it did actually happen. But I don't think Maduro is actually acknowledging it or even talking about it. That being said, he did do an interview in Venezuela while he's driving around in what appears to be like an SUV or a minivan or something. Anyway, he in this clip from this interview, he says that the defensive system, air defense system that Iran donated to them. Well, they have various defensive systems, I guess, are going to guarantee Venezuela's territorial integrity. I don't know if you're going to understand any of this, but I'm going to just let it roll just because I want to show you that he did it.
Lo que yo sí te puedo decir que el sistema defensivo nacional que combina la fuerza popular, militar, policial, ha garantizado y garantiza la integridad territorial, la paz del país y el uso y disfrute de todos nuestros territorios. Y nuestro pueblo está seguro y en paz. Lo que yo sí.
Okay, got it? I don't know if you speak Spanish. But that's what he was saying. There are other clips too. What else has he said tonight? He says Maduro is claiming the U.S. he openly is talking about taking Venezuela's resources, including the gold and oil. Yeah, I think so. I think that's really the reason why, even though he's saying tonight that he is open to discussing the drug issue, he's also stating that what the US really wants, what Trump wants, is the oil, which is what I've been telling you. It's just blatantly obvious and everybody knows it, but that is not justification enough for some sort of an invasion. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But here he is stating the obvious.
What is the goal of the current government of the US? They already have said it. They have already said it. To take all of the petroleum of Venezuela. They have already said it. The gold, the rare earths, the richness of Venezuela. What is the goal of the current government of the US? They already have said it. They have already said it. To take all of the petroleum of Venezuela. They have already said it. The gold, the rare earths, the richness of Venezuela. What is the goal?
Like, I'm not a Maduro fan. Don't get me wrong. Not at all. But that's true. It's just true. I mean, let's not play games here. It's exactly what it is. Hello, Canada. Are you paying attention? Yeah, that Black Velvet Elvis is looking pretty good over there. I'm seriously considering it. You see my artwork back here? That's Americana. Norman Rockwell. No Black Velvet Elvis is around here, though, the king. And then you have the original king, Jesus, painted at the Trump shindig on New Year's Eve. And then I showed you the Black Velvet Elvis and Jesus portrait that you can buy online. So that's a twofer. And then, of course, there's the third king, Donald J. Trump. So I think it was, I don't know, was there some metaphor, symbolism, or something there? I don't know. Speaking of New Year's Eve, did you see that the FBI says it has thwarted a potential New Year's terror attack directly inspired by ISIS? The Justice Department has charged somebody by the name of a Christian Sturdivant, allegedly attempted to carry out a knife and hammer attack against random people New Year's Eve in support of ISIS. This happening apparently, or was going to happen, in North Carolina. FBI Director Kash Patel, quote, this is what he said. He said, "Thanks to our great partners for working with us and undoubtedly saving lives." So Sturdivant is a U.S. citizen, turned 18 years old last month. He apparently planned to target a grocery store or a Burger King in North Carolina with a knife attack, and allegedly said that the U.S. would pay for their retaliatory attack on ISIS targets after 2 National Guardsmen were killed in December. This according to the court documents. The investigation into Sturdivant actually started back in 2022. At that time, of course, he was a minor, and he started out on the internet reading ISIS material, going to ISIS websites, making TikTok videos, and then reached out over time to what he thought was a member of ISIS. In reality, that person was an undercover agent with the NYPD, and investigators took action. So he pledged his allegiance to ISIL, and with that undercover agent, he disclosed his plans to do jihad soon, is what we're told. So he allegedly met a second undercover officer with the FBI who also thought that it was he thought was an ISIS participant, and then started to be very specific with his plans. So he was spilling his guts and spilling his beans to undercover agents, and that landed him into a whole heap of hot water. And the FBI saying that they closed the door on this planned attack. Here, I think I have a photo that was released. Yeah, right here. This one over from ABC. We'll show you. And bring this up. Evidence photo released by the U.S. Department of Justice after the FBI says it thwarted a potential New Year's Eve terror attack in North Carolina. So 2 hammers and 2 knives is what they are presenting here as evidence. Apparently, the tools that would have been turned into weapons. So the details still emerging, but some people are calling this something of a Burger King jihad attempt. And then that was his plan A, and his plan B was the plan to attack the grocery store. But none of that's happening now. Thank goodness. And yet, through all of this, every time there's any major news like this, I have to admit, I'm sitting here and I'm skeptical of everything coming out of Kash Patel's mouth and everything coming out of the FBI now, because this administration is so performative. They do everything for ratings, everything for clicks, everything for views. It really is very much like we're watching a movie. And so anything that I see coming from the FBI, I'm now wondering how much of this is being exaggerated in the interests of telling a good story or spinning a narrative in order to get more views, clicks, and generate support for the administration. It seems like they choose to take action on particular, just an observation. Maybe it's not accurate. It just seems like this to me, like they pick particular kinds of crimes to announce or pursue because they kind of fit the agenda of the administration so that they can highlight these particular kinds of arrests or investigations and say, look at what we're doing. We're keeping Donald J. Trump's promises. And so it seems like a Department of Justice, it seems like the FBI is politically driven as much as they are driven by a quest for justice. Just a sense just that I'm getting from the whole thing. Maybe that's been going on all along from one administration to another. Maybe it happens all the time, but this administration, this Trump administration, it just has that overlay, it really does. Semi-opaque, and it's right there up front. And that's why Trump keeps saying central casting. This is like, you're right out of central casting, and all the people that he's picked for his team or his inner circle. I mean, they're all media personalities, social media influencers from Fox News, or they've got successful online programs, or they've become celebrities, household names in politics and online. And it goes on and on. So, as I say, very performative. That's why I just sit there and I say, is this real, or are they manufacturing something here? I don't know. I guess the evidence is the evidence, and hopefully the actual real cops, not Kash Patel, but the people doing the real work, are living up to their oath, their promises, and acting in ethical and professional ways always. You hope so, but then you see what's going on with ICE and the end run around people's rights and the deportations with no due process, and that raises big red flags for me. Not just yellow ones, red ones. The controversy over Zoran Mamdani's waving gesture, or some say Nazi salute, continues tonight, and the comparisons continue online. You tell me now. I can see that his hand, even in this shot, appears to be tilted upward, like it's a wave. But whereas Elon's hand, if you look at his, Elon's hand is more straight up, tilted up a little bit, but it just looks more like like you know what I'm saying. You compare them. And I don't know, and the way Elon did it, it was more of like a hardcore thrust. A hardcore thrust, but that's the one that got him in hot water. And I think I said, he should know better. A lot of these other ones that people post online with people's arms up in the air, I think it's pretty clear that they're just waving. Musk did it twice in different directions, but you can assess for yourself. I think every politician needs to be careful how they put their arm up in the air like that, lest you be attacked for it. And it gets going on and 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 on. And what's Zoran Mamdani doing? I guess he came into the mayor's office today and then went out on the road a little bit. And I guess he signed or actually rescinded some executive orders of some kind. One dealing with language and anti-Semitism or something. Yeah, here we go. So he revoked the Israel-related executive orders that were signed by the former mayor, Adams, and he has directed his team to focus on housing. That was those are the first things that he did as the new mayor of New York City, using his executive powers to revoke a handful of orders, really, put in place by his predecessor. So he signed the orders yesterday afternoon, actually. And he did it just hours after his inaugural ceremony, which we showed you a little piece of yesterday. So he rescinded directives signed by Eric Adams. And I'm just looking up here. What's the detail on that? Okay, so yeah, it was he rescinded a directive that expanded the definition of anti-Semitism, and also rescinded another that barred city employees and agencies from boycotting or divesting from Israel. I see. Well, there's the hot button issue, isn't it? Yes, it is. And he waded right into that right off the top, right away. And that's one of the issues that's going to dog him because he is Muslim. And some people, well, let's just say it's divisive. So we'll wish New Yorkers well. We hope the city succeeds. And here's hoping that Zoran Mamdani does a good job and that the people are better off in the long run. Time will tell. We'll assess and assess fairly as his reign as New York's mayor progresses. Powerful position, too, because it's such a big city. It's sort of like, Rome. So, even though he's a mayor, he's a rival to Donald Trump. And yet both of them seem to get along famously, don't they? When they're together, you saw what happened in the White House. And Mamdani's called Trump a fascist, and Trump said, that's okay. It's just easier that way. Yeah, I'm a fascist, he says. He didn't come right out and say that, but he acknowledged it. Which, okay, Donald, are you awake yet, folks? Are you paying attention? What else do we have happening here tonight? Got to get through the news so we can get to the Howard Hughes stuff and the the original Elon Musk. I think we're kind of getting, yeah. Here's Mamdani. As I say, he rescinded those executive orders and then he's directed his staff to focus on housing. So here's a clip of him talking about just that today, or was it yesterday? Anyway, it's a fresh clip.
It was like mold, and then the ceiling was like peeling off.
Facility.
And then they come and do something, everything rusty.
How long have you lived here?
21 years, going to 22.
And when did this start?
It started most likely when my son like a few days old.
And when was that?
Like 2004.
These same sons that I just met?
Yeah. The oldest one.
When the oldest one was a few days old, that's when
Yeah.
this began? When did this happen?
I can't remember exactly
The year?
more than years.
More than years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just... This is just a hazard.
This is how all of the buildings are. All of them.
How long was the back?
The heat?
How long was it on what floor?
I think since September.
And they fixed it when?
Today.
Today. I've been freezing.
They fixed it today. So, good luck, landlords in New York City. You have somebody who is going to target you, especially if you're not, I guess, maintaining your facilities. I'm going to put the audio down on this, but oh, look who was partying at the Trump New Year's Eve shindig. Here he is. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Elon Musk. Or it could be his clone. And Melania's like, I'm not sitting near those guys. They're crazy. And what is wrong with them? Was that at the Mar-a-Lago shindig? New Year's Eve? Yep. Yeah, he was back there at Mar-a-Lago getting down. Let's go one more time. One more time, okay? One more time. I wonder. Musk and Trump doing the disco dance. Okay, we're turning that audio down. It's better when there's no audio anyway. She's like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? Get down, baby. Okay. Elon. Mark Carney's going to take part in Ukraine peace talks in France next week. He'll be representing Kazakhstan. Yeah, a lot of this stuff's pivoting over to Europe. I sometimes wonder why the United States is even taking the lead on this stuff, because they're not getting the job done. Honestly, for me, as I'm watching this whole thing, it just seems like they are incompetent and they are not getting it done. And maybe they should just turn it over to somebody else for the peace talks. But the U.S. is directly involved, has been quite a while, and I guess that's why. Anyway, Carney's going to be in France Monday and Tuesday, and they have this block, the Coalition of the Willing, and they're going to get together to accelerate efforts toward what they're calling a negotiated peace for Ukraine, supported by strong security guarantees. Canada says they're on board with these security guarantees. whatever that means. And I don't know how Canada can guarantee anything given the state of our military in Ukraine, but I guess we could be part of something. Hopefully it doesn't mean that, I hope that it doesn't result in escalation and then result in Canadians or even other people from other countries, soldiers from other countries becoming directly involved in an escalating, broadening conflict. But 2026 will tell the tale. I'm worried about it. There's no peace at hand. This is not going to end anytime soon. All right, what else do we have for you this evening before we get to Elon Musk and Howard Hughes? I'll tell you what, let's take a little break. I'm going to get ready for this run at Howard Hughes to then tee up our movie for tonight, Hell's Angels. If you like Top Gun, if you like Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise swing walking and hanging off the edges of airplane wings and acting like a sky fool, daredevil stuntman guy, then you're going to love this film. No CGI. Just life-risking stunts, and people did die during the making of Hell's Angels in order to bring real aerial footage to the silver screen.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, a few other things to talk about. This fire at a Swiss ski resort, New Year's Eve, killed at least 40 people. I guess they're saying that it started with fountain candles, essentially sparklers on top of champagne bottles, and they were carried high, got too close to the ceiling, set the place on fire. 40 people killed, and authorities they're saying it could take days to identify all of the victims. They called them, I guess, Bengal lights, basically just sparklers. Fire. Yeah. So they're using dental records and DNA samples to ID some of these victims. So that's a tragedy. Also, Air India pilot arrested before taking off at Vancouver Airport. So this happened today. So there was a media report that the pilot was found to be under the influence of alcohol before takeoff, and Richmond RCMP say that officers arrested the pilot. This was back on December 23rd after investigating, in their words, quote, a concern involving a crew member preparing to report for duty. So there was a report from Reuters that says Canada's transportation regulator has asked Air India to investigate the incident. And from the airline itself, this statement released saying, quote, Air India regrets the inconvenience caused to its passengers and is fully cooperating with local authorities. The pilot has been taken off flying duties during the process of inquiry. Air India maintains a zero tolerance policy towards any violation of applicable rules and regulations. Okay. I'm going to be choosing my airline pretty carefully in the future if I ever fly anywhere again. I'm just inclined these days to stay close to home. Speaking of inflation, of course, I'm here helping to take care of my dad. Uh-oh, hang on. What's going on? Somebody's sending me a news tip? Oh, I see. I see. Oh, okay. Whatever, man. Why are you so obsessed with the States? So you not live in Canada anymore? Wow. Toy would never know. All you take about is Trump wars. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, as I was saying, that's in the chat. Yeah, I am in my mom's basement because, as you know, my dad had his hip operation. Or some of you know, if you haven't been watching for a while and you're just stopping by and you're just looking for ammo to hit me with. Yeah, I'm in my mom's basement right now. Yep. But my story is about this. My dad, I got him out today and we went for a little drive. He's doing real well. I don't know. Is it okay, Dad, if I share your medical information? Yes, son, that's no problem. You go ahead. Okay, thanks, Dad. So we went on the for a little road trip today, and he said, we're going to go for lunch and I'm going to buy. And I was like, this is a bad idea. Not because I didn't want to go for lunch with my dad, but because I knew it was going to happen. And you know what happened? A chicken sandwich and an Arby's roast beef, just a regular roast beef sandwich, 2 small soft drinks, $24.70. That's inflation. $24.70. No fries. I guess maybe we didn't order smart. They're probably specials on, but I haven't been to Arby's. I don't really eat out much at all anymore because it's so damn expensive. I just don't. I do not do it. It is crazy expensive. You can spend so much money so fast, even at fast food restaurants now, even at Mickey D's. The prices are out of sight. I just about had a freaking heart attack, and I had not even eaten the high cholesterol deep fried chicken sandwich yet. Oh my God! Anyway, my dad paid out of his retirement savings, and I was like, "Holy crap, man! We can't never come on here again because now we got a mortgage of the house to pay for lunch." Oh my God! Anybody else out there like as shocked as I am at the prices of fast food? Oh my God! Unbelievable. Unbelievable, man. 24.70. Yeah. Scary stuff. How are you going to afford anything? No wonder people can't afford to live. Now, that being said, I did stop, picked up some groceries today. And you know where I like to shop these days? Since I'm such a high class guy? Giant Tiger. They didn't pay me. This is not an ad for Giant Tiger, but I find that it's a Canadian company, and their prices are actually very competitive. Like they're in line and sometimes even better than like a place like Walmart or even Costco. And my dad always trying to economize, right? Is it okay if I tell the story about you there, Dad? What you said about Costco today? Yes, son, that's okay. So he says, I want to go to Costco. I'm thinking, I don't want to go to Costco. I don't want to go to Costco to get you any groceries. He wanted to go to Costco for a box of Cheerios. Don't tell him I told you. And I was like, you want to go to Costco for a box of Cheerios? Yeah. Well, I'm just the son. So I'm like, okay, I'll drive you to Costco. So I guess he really just wanted to get out. Cabin fever, I guess, but that's okay. That's okay. But we went there and it was just too darn busy. And even he came to his senses when we couldn't find a parking spot, no handicap spots available, no spots hardly at all, period, in the entire freaking parking lot. But it's a day after New Year's and it was just busy everywhere. So anyway, he gave up on the box of Cheerios. He said, Dad, don't you have Cheerios? He loves Cheerios. And I said, don't you have a box of Cheerios at home? Well, yeah. Do we really need to get Cheerios? Yeah, I want my Cheerios. That's $2 cheaper. Okay. I was at Giant Tiger today. Before that, though, I could have bought a box of Cheerios, and I don't think that he would have saved $2, but what do I know, right? Anyway, we didn't have to go to Costco, but I know it's coming. He's going to make me take him, and I hate taking him out because he will not slow down. He runs ahead of me, and I'm like, it's slippery, man. You got to wait for me to hold on to you. And he's like, I'm fine. I'm like, oh, it's so stressful. But maybe I'm just a little overprotective. We'll come right back and we'll start digging into this Howard Hughes, Elon Musk comparison, and then we'll tee up that blockbuster movie from 1930. This was a movie that transitioned from the silent era into the era of talkies, and there's even some color footage in it because it was a transitionary film, a landmark movie, and aerial footage that some say still even today has never been duplicated in terms of authenticity and quality.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity, the Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world. Treasures to protect, built-in power when you need to recharge. Smart design that makes your bedroom feel large. Turn Easy Bed, spin your
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity. The Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Turn easy bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. It custom shelves for your books or your tech. Cozy space for your treasures to protect. Built-in power when you need to recharge. Smart design that makes your bedroom feel large. Turn easy bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day.
Designed and developed by Brightleaf Innovations. Proudly Canadian and patent pending in North America. Turn Easy Bed transforms how you live.
To learn more about this innovative new product idea and exciting investment opportunity, call 519-784-0222 or visit brightleafinnovations.com.
Okay, we had a little bit of a glitch there, so we got a little bit of a repeat, but that's okay because that's our sponsor of sorts. Not getting rich though, that's for sure. So I really appreciate the support that we've had over the holidays from those of you who have donated to the program. Really appreciate it. If you're inclined, subscribe to our channels. If you're over on YouTube, don't forget to jump over to the Rumble channel because we will be, cutting the feed to YouTube when we actually go to the Hell's Angels movie tonight so that we don't get a copyright strike, even though the movie is now in public domain as of yesterday. But thank you for the support. You can support us. It doesn't cost you a thing to just hit the thumbs up on whatever channel you're looking at tonight, wherever you're viewing us. Subscribe, and then you'll get the notifications so you don't miss any installments of either Maverick News or Maverick Midnight Matinee. And we're usually doing those on Friday nights for all the Maverick Midnight movie maniacs. So, Howard Hughes. I've referred to him many times as the original Elon Musk. In some ways, he was an original Maverick too, because he was an entrepreneur, the guy who blazed his own trails. Even though he was born into money because his father became rich by developing a tool, a drilling mechanism or tool for the oil and gas industry. And that is what paved the way for Howard Hughes to do all of the things that he did later. He was a movie producer, director. He, of course, was an entrepreneur, owned many businesses, became involved in the aerospace industry, developed all kinds of technologies like Elon Musk, many government contracts, even his company Hughes Aerospace developed satellite technology, a lot of military technology, tracking systems for missiles. His legacy is really all over the place in the United States, forgotten, I think, by a lot of people and even confused because of the name Howard Hughes. I think a lot of people confuse him especially people who aren't really familiar with the history with Hugh Hefner, of Playboy fame, but different guy for sure. So because Hughes, although he had a long list of love interests, that's for sure. And because he became a filmmaker and ran with the rich and famous and the Hollywood elite, he had a long list of Hollywood starlets that he romanced, or some might even say collected, because that was the sort of the attitude of the time. I've always been kind of fascinated with Hughes because of his power and his eccentricity. And he, in many ways, he was weird at a time before weird was normal. Yeah, an aerospace engineer, businessman, filmmaker, investor, philanthropist, known for his groundbreaking achievements in aviation and film. And yeah, he had a very eccentric lifestyle. He was a recluse, became a shut-in, mental health issues, to be sure, controversies. They made a great movie with Leonardo DiCaprio depicting Howard Hughes. The film, if you haven't seen it, The Aviator, is actually really good. Really well made. I think fairly true to the story, the biography of Howard Hughes as well. He was born in Houston, Texas, inherited the Hughes Tool Company fortune. This after his parents' deaths in the early 1920s, dropped out of college, pursued engineering and business interests, and then he entered Hollywood in the late 1920s, producing and directing films like The Racket in 1928 and this epic war film, Hell's Angels, 1930. At the time, the budget was massive with a $3.5 million bankroll. He also produced Scarface in 1932, The Outlaw with Jane Russell, 1943, 1946. And then he acquired RKO Pictures in 1948. The studio struggled under his management, though. He didn't run it efficiently, that's for sure. But he sold it profitably in 1955. And then he really made a name for himself in aviation. He set multiple records, a land plane record, not a land speed record, a land plane speed record, 352 miles per hour in 1935, a transcontinental U.S. flight in 7 hours, 28 minutes in 1937. And while he was up there, he was making business deals. He was so forward thinking that he was up there flying around the world, setting a world record, and he's on the radio, tapping at, I think, the phone lines and making a deal. And his rivals were like, how the hell did he do that? Because he was just using the available technology that was even on the aircraft at the time. Kind of like, I don't have the internet, so let's just use this radio. He founded Hughes Aircraft Company in 1932, designed the H-1 Racer, and earned awards like the Collier Trophy in 1938, the Harmon Trophy, and a Congressional Gold Medal in 1939. And he had a lot of business ventures. He was so into aviation that he bought TWA Airlines, Trans World Airlines. And then he got into the Las Vegas scene. Real estate investments there, spent $300 million on hotels like the Desert Inn and the Sands. And today, I've been to Vegas a few times for business, and when you're driving around, you'll see, there's a road named after him, a prominent road. So he left his mark on Vegas, that's for sure. And it was the government contracts, though, just like Elon Musk, contracts that he got, especially during World War II, that really boosted his wealth through Hughes Aircraft. He produced radar. He produced aircraft radar, tracking systems for missiles. He produced missiles. So, you get into that industry, you're going to make big money. And he did, because this is the military industrial complex back in World War II, right? And a key deal for him was the 1942 contract for the H-4 Hercules Spruce Goose. This was a massive wooden flying boat intended for troop transport, cost millions of dollars, but was delayed by wartime shortages, and there were government grants awarded for this thing. It became very controversial, and in 1947, the Senate War Investigating Committee held special hearings accusing Hughes of misusing $40 million in government funds on the Spruce Goose, which flew only once, briefly, in 1947. He did it to prove that the thing could actually fly because it was just sitting idle. It was made of wood. A lot of people said it could never get off the ground or off the water because it was it would be, they used water to launch the thing. It was like a seaplane, a huge seaplane, and he said, yes, it will fly. So he got in the thing, and as a pilot, he got it up, but not very high. There's footage of it out there. I think we've got the footage. Actually, let me see if I've got it here. Or maybe I've just got the plane crash, because some of this stuff is even now, because he was so famous, even some of the newsreel footage from his time and the stuff surrounding him is protected by copyright. What do we have here? So this is the plane crash. This is an experimental plane. What was it? The can't remember the exact name of the plane. The X-11 or something like that. It had these these rotating propellers, and it was innovative and groundbreaking at the time. But then he learned that because one of the engines shut down during the test flight that as he was flying, and because the twin engine with dual propellers, and then the whole aircraft went like that because of the force, and that it was off balance, and the thing just went out of control. So they learned after that to invert the pitch of the propellers and then have them counter rotate so that it would be better balanced. And then if something like that happened again, it wouldn't result in a crash. But here, I've got the footage of the crash. This was in 1946. Let me bring it up for you here. And you'll see, I think they actually run some newsreel footage from Universal, the Universal film reel stuff, in the movie The Aviator with Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay, here's the plane crash. He was flying himself.
Howard Hughes, famous flyer and sportsman, was dragged out of this wreckage of an experimental plane he was testing. He was seriously injured. After ripping the corner from two homes in Beverly Hills, California, the plane finally plunged into this house. The force of the impact virtually wrecked the building and caused the plane to catch fire. The flyer said that the accident was due to motor failure shortly after his takeoff. He failed to make a crash landing on a golf course. Dennis O'Keefe, film actor, inspects damage done in the home of Lieutenant Colonel Myers, chief interpreter at the Nuremberg war trials. America's aviation trailblazers willingly pay the price in man's conquest of the air.
And that's the way news was done back then in many respects, with music. Very dramatic. So this is footage from his around the world flight, which also made world headlines at the time. And I think a lot of people today have just forgotten this stuff. And I think we're so desensitized to the magnificence of some of what is going on, even to, especially today with, the rocketry, space travel, International Space Station, all this stuff. It's just regular occurrence in today, and jets flying all over the world internationally. It's nothing for people to say, I'm going to hop on a plane and jet on over to Hawaii or someplace, It's like nothing. But back in those days, It was still that was still something to come. This was before jets. This was still a time of passenger planes with propellers, and we hadn't flown around the world yet. So here's Hughes, and this was him taking off for New York in his round the world plane. New York, a big crowd welcomes the sportsman pilot when he flies in from the coast. And there's even some sound in this, I think, and you hear Howard Hughes speaking briefly. I can't bring you the government hearings because those are copyrighted, but I can bring you this.
Greatest naval spectacle they have ever fleet, which to the signal speeds from the flagship and the lines of battleships get underway. Officers and men of the settled warlike condition with the world's greatest king in supreme. There is underlying solemnity of purpose, command. An attacking plane, in this case a Queen Bee, wireless control.
I don't think it's the right footage. No, we got sidetracked here. It's supposed to be that, but it's not the right. It's not in the archives. It isn't the right footage. Yeah, it's labeled that, but that's not what we got. Okay, well, sorry about that. Anyway, he's a pretty interesting cat, Howard Hughes. And I'll tell you, I think that Elon Musk has nothing on this guy, even though he's got Neuralink and AI and social media. I don't know, something about Howard Hughes was even more entrepreneurial. He was also very afraid of nuclear testing, and he was involved in politics even as a recluse. You know, he ended up in Vegas, and he was just a shut-in in Vegas. And you have to go watch the movie, the biography of him. There were people who didn't see him for a long time, and the media was trying to figure out if he was even still alive. And there were drawings of what he was supposed to look like, and there were drawings of him, and people thought that he had like really long fingernails and toenails and a beard and long hair. And he had very unusual, shall we say, health habits that he developed, and sanitary habits. He had mental health issues, especially that became very pronounced later in his, at the end of his life. And people took advantage of him, like really severely, because he was surrounding himself with people that he thought he could trust. He had this thing for Mormons and trusted Mormons. He wanted Mormons around him. And there was talk of him taking blood transfusions for health reasons, and he wanted only Mormon blood. He was kind of a weird dude, to be sure, very eccentric, and would sit and watch this television station in Vegas that he purchased for hours on end, and then he would phone the station and complain about things and tell them what they should and shouldn't run, could and couldn't run. Talk about censorship and control. So he was into communications in that way too. But as I say, his legacy is everywhere. It's even written in the sky. Hughes Aerospace, his company's responsible for, satellites, died in, I think it was 76, and hadn't been seen, and he was scurried away. And the autopsy revealed that really, if he had been properly cared for by the people who had been charged with I say charged, but who were responsible for his care, they say that he probably never would have died, and wouldn't have died then. So there was some talk about him possibly even being neglected to the point of being killed, and people taking his money heavily. He was very influential in politics, worried about the nuclear testing that was taking place out in the desert out near Las Vegas at the time. Really paranoid about it. Really staunchly opposed. So in many ways, a man ahead of his time, a forward-thinking guy, and an incredible legacy on the silver screen as well. So tonight, we're going to bring you on Maverick Midnight Matinee, Hell's Angels, this epic from 1930, unrivaled even today in many respects, because everything he did, everything you're going to see in this movie, done with no CGI. I mean, he was like up in the plane, and he even reportedly crashed planes himself in order to get the footage that he wanted for the film, intentionally crashing these planes. And he went around and purchased all these military aircraft for the film. And as a result, he ended up with the world's largest private air force. How about that? So I see a lot of similarities between him and Elon Musk. And yet today, I don't know that Elon Musk has ever actually acknowledged or commented on the comparisons that have been made, not just by myself, but a lot of other people have compared Elon Musk and Howard Hughes. But Musk, very reluctant, or I don't know, maybe he just doesn't want to acknowledge it. I do recall somebody who worked for him or with him, and I can't recall the guy who it was, but he did mention that he had at some point mentioned to Elon Musk that he was like Howard Hughes, and they laughed about it because, of course, Musk sort of thought that, well, you're comparing me to a crazy guy, because in the end, Howard Hughes was pretty freaking nuts. But man, the list of starlets that he had, I think he even, he was even with Rita Hayworth for a while, and quite a few others as well. So long list, but in the end, I know that he said that he regretted a lot of what he did in Hollywood and the relationships that became so public, because he didn't really want to be known for that through history. But that's part of his legacy, part of his biography, his story. And he did a lot of stupid things. Just like Elon Musk, just like all the tech bros, all the technocrats, done some pretty dumb things. Yeah, he did some pretty crazy things. So tonight, we're going to leave this portion of the program, Maverick News, with one of my favorite songs, The Tards. And then we'll see you back on the other side. Don't go away, because we're going to keep on broadcasting. We'll come back with Maverick Midnight Matinee on the other side of this.
They're not stupid, they're just dumb. Running their mouths with a digital thumb. Think they're tough, but they ain't that hard. Pity the fools, they're the tards. Retarded, can't see straight, full of rage and second-rate hate. Retarded, trying so hard.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity. The Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search it.